Hey, Mr. Adams, can you see me?
I can, man. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing well, doing well. Yeah,
Awesome,
you
man.
caught me in the car, man. I'm actually leaving from signing for a closing, so I don't know. That may have been a connection on my end.
No worries at all. Hopefully, we'll have enough to go for a few minutes here.
Cool, cool.
Appreciate you jumping on with me. I'll just get right into it, so I don't hold you for too long.
No, that's
Uh,
fine, man.
so, what market are you in right now?
So I do probably 90% of my stuff in Detroit,
Okay,
and then I also invest in Florida, and we basically wholesale all over the country.
okay. So, are you located in Detroit then?
No, so I'm from Detroit. I live in Florida though. I live in Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just wholesale all over?
So we predominantly do fix and flip, and I'm also an educator. So I teach people how to fix and flip remotely, domestically. So I've got students as far as Denmark and Tokyo,
Okay.
and then a plethora of students spread out all over the nation. But I teach them how to run a remote business. I do 40, 50 deals a year
Okay.
remotely from Florida, in Detroit and other marketplaces. And we remote fix and flip, remote wholesale, as well as cash flow multifamily.
Awesome. So do you end up partnering with a lot of your students? Is that kind of how you, I know a lot of people that educate tend to partner with their students as opposed to taking a huge down payment. It's profitable for both people to, whether it's 50-50 or whatever it is. Cause I know, if they're setting up their business remotely, then it can be a good thing for you as well.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So we don't exactly JV with our students. We actually education is the biggest component of what we provide to them, and we do it in both the practical sense as well as the conceptual piece. We actually bring them out and we do property field trips where we take them in marketplaces we're actually investing in and teach them all of the fundamentals of construction as well as teach them the business from A to Z. However, we also do bring them deals. We help them get the deals 100% financed through our hard money and private money efforts. And we offer vetted teams of contractors and realtors in certain marketplaces for them as well.
Awesome. Awesome. So if you don't mind me asking, how'd you get into real estate? About how long have you been doing it at this point?
Yep. So I started in 2006.
Okay.
Before the market crashed, I was 22. I was in college back in Central Michigan, and basically a buddy of mine was flipping, $60,000, $70,000 homes in Detroit, and the people they just weren't very financially savvy. They needed help with down payments as home buyers, and so I was leveraging my refund checks in college, covering the down for those home buyers, and he would give me a return on my money. And from there, when the market turned, I built up some liquidity, and so I picked up like 20 doors, 20 cash flow properties from 2008 to 2010, and things just kind of kept evolving from there.
All right. Awesome. So you said most of your business at this point outside of your education is fix and flips?
So most of I'm more focused on scaling my education program, but predominantly I'm teaching people the fix and flip aspect while the bulk of my business is wholesale and commercial multifamily now.
Okay. So are you in apartment buildings and all that?
Yeah, apartment buildings.
Did you go from I know you said you had 20 doors when you got started early. Have you like done an exchange for tax purposes, or have you kept all those doors and just kind of transferred in your
Man,
focus to
so
apartment buildings?
that's a good question. So for me, I ended up selling off about 80% of that inventory in the down market because I wasn't educated.
Right.
I was in a good position from a cash flow perspective, but when those properties started to need a lot of work, I didn't have any mentors, anybody around me telling me to hold on to that portfolio. So I sold off most of those single family properties. That same portfolio that I bought 2008 to 10 today in Detroit would be $2.8 million on a $150,000 outlay that I put out 9 years ago. But that's the importance of mentorship. You don't know what you don't know.
Right. Awesome. As far as acquiring the apartment buildings that you're getting now,
Mm-hmm.
are you syndicating, or is it mostly, how are you going about financing? I've been trying to start understanding apartment buildings more. I love multifamilies. That's what I'm
Yeah.
focusing on now. I'm trying to pick up a quad right now that I'm hopefully closing on Friday. But
Congrats.
I
Yeah.
do multifamilies because I'd like to get into more doors and it's easier cash flow. So, the goal is always going to be apartment buildings eventually.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just always interested to hear more about that.
Absolutely. So yeah, we do syndicate some stuff. Mainly, I've got I'm always in the process of raising capital, right? You're always as an investor, you're always looking for money, and we just so happen in our network We have a pretty good stream of investors that we JV with, and some of them want equity plays, some of them want just fixed returns. So we actually just have a plethora of investors that we deal with. So we haven't had to really syndicate a whole lot because we have kind of an immediate circle of investors to come in and help us take these buildings down.
Okay. Okay. Let's see here. So you're teaching mostly, got a lot of buying. Do you have any idea how many doors you own off the top?
We got a 27, a 23, and we got control over a 40 right now that we're going back and forth about if we're going to wholesale it or if we're going to reposition it. So, I mean, collectively, I guess it could be a little over 80, depending on how we pursue this 40 unit that we got control over right now.
Okay. Are you finding those through brokers primarily?
Man, you know, we really have a lot of boots on the ground in our marketplaces, and so these deals have been brought to us off market.
Okay.
Yeah.
As far as your students, not to switch gears too fast, but how do you generally teach them to go about finding deals? I mean, I wholesale primarily, so I'm always interested to hear what's working. Cause I mean, I hear so many different things. I'm starting to push I've been doing mailers forever. I get a good cash on cash return.
Yeah.
I'm starting to push those more. I'm starting to, next week, actually, I'm going to get a cold caller going for the first time.
Okay.
I'll be trying to, once I get that working well, I'll be trying to pick up momentum there. I also hear people talking about pay-per-click a lot, and I had never had, luck with pay-per-click, and you can just lose so much money so fast doing it in so many different ways. So I'm always interested to hear, what are you teaching? What is your experience?
So for me, I try to teach them the least path of resistance early on, and driving for dollars and cold calling, I mean, are probably the most cost effective with the biggest return, right? We do pay-per-click. I mean, we spend a ton of money in marketing on our wholesaling arm, but everybody's not in that position, right? So I think the best bang for your buck is exactly that, is door knocking, is cold calling. And that's been the most effective to get them going. And once they start to scale, they could get into some other marketing strategies with buying lists and sending out mailers and the more, I guess, capital intensive approaches, but are effective if you have the capital to put out.
Right. As far as pay-per-click goes, are you doing Google AdWords or are you on Facebook?
Yeah, Google AdWords. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'm pretty intimidated by Google AdWords just because, I mean, you can spend so much money so fast. And you basically, I mean, you like you said, you don't know what you don't know. You have to hire somebody for everything that I've ever seen is basically said, spend the money to hire somebody that can show you how to do it right.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we did. We've got a marketing guy that runs that arm of the business because, it's a lot of intricacies to it. And if you don't know what you're doing, you could lose a lot of money in a very short period of time.
Absolutely. As far as your education goes, I know you mentioned y'all got your own system. Do you speak at a lot of conferences outside of your own workshops and classes a lot?
So I have not, and not for any reason in particular, other than the fact that, the program is I would say it's in its infancy, probably going into toddler stages now. It's a year old at this point. And so we've learned a lot over the last year, and we're starting to obviously evolve and make some changes to some of the offerings that we're offer. But I think that based on some of the feedback I've been getting as of recent and some of the invitations, that it probably will be me speaking at more events in the very near future over the next 60 days or so.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine you'd be able to bring a lot of students in by doing that,
Yeah, and for us, man, it's really more quality over quantity, to
Right.
be honest with you. I've possessed an ability to go out and make my own money, so I'm less concerned about attracting students from just a pure revenue perspective.
Right.
I want to work with students that could really take the input and go be successful on the output piece, that really want to put in the work. So as we can probably get more people in, I'm more concerned about the quality of the student than I am the quantity piece.
Yeah. I think that's what most coaching programs lose over time, it seems like. And that's kind of what gives a lot of coaching programs a bad name. They get so big, it gets so watered down that you end up talking to somebody on the phone that you have to, every time you got an issue, you got to call in and talk to somebody else.
Right.
And I mean, it's kind of just impossible you kind of got to get to know somebody and know, even if you're only talking to them once a week, You got to know what their issue is,
Absolutely.
what their deal is, you know. And I mean, there's so many programs out there right now that just, like I said, they give it a bad name, and then it doesn't do well for everybody else. But I appreciate that you're actually trying to make sure you're, you know, giving the full service to every individual, because that's, I mean, it really is a beautiful thing. I talk to people about it all the time. I would like to
Hmm.
teach in the future, because there's really no real higher calling than trying to teach somebody how to fish and feed themselves and
No doubt
serve
about it.
abundance to both people. So
Yeah.
I think that's a
Yeah.
great thing.
Yeah. And
So
I appreciate that.
where would people go to look more into your education program? How should they find out more about you? Instagram, or is there, you have where are your other presences?
Yeah, so I mean, Instagram, Facebook, I would say Instagram is probably the most effective. And then from there, they would just go through the channels of, speaking with the team and kind of going through a discovery process to see if they are a good fit for what we're offering. And, if it's mutually beneficial, then, they could start pursuing the next steps. But ultimately, Instagram will probably be the most effective and the quickest way to streamline that communication.
Awesome, awesome. Have you written any books or anything like that to this point?
I haven't. I've been approached about it a lot, but I probably will by the end of the year. By the end
Awesome.
of the year. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me again. If you got anything you
Thanks
want
for
to
having
add
me, man.
before you, absolutely, absolutely. I'd love to do it again. I'll
Yeah.
definitely keep up with things. And as I have some questions, I'll definitely reach out to you. And maybe one day we can do another video that's more, focused on one central topic or something like that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. And I just, anybody that's watching or that sees this at some point, wherever you at, if you haven't started yet, if kind of been kicking the tires but not getting any traction, just find somebody to help you. Like, I'm a firm believer in hacking. Like when I wanted to scale my virtual arm, I found somebody to help me do that on the wholesaling side. Anytime I want to scale, I find somebody else that's doing it on a larger level. And, people I think have the tendency to be prideful in that, they want to do it all on their own. And I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna pay now or pay later, and it's very costly to figure it out on your own. And so for me, I found it to be more effective to actually pay people, embrace what they have, maybe tweak it a little bit to my liking, but it just gives you the ability to get there faster. So, that's my 2 cents.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate it again, and I hope we talk soon.
Yeah, man. Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you.